Oh, there it goes. There we go.
Quartz.
Michael, can you test something out? How's the audio? Can you hear us?
As I just shook it near the mic.
Sorry,
right
it's
here,
perfect.
too. Yeah.
Michael, let me know how it sounds, if you can. I'm gonna walk back, and I can't read right now, but I will do a little test.
Oh,
And
test.
Sue, are you on
want him
TikTok as well?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you can. I guess you can do that.
Yeah.
too.
Well, it doesn't matter either way. So we got people listening there, here.
Yeah. Let's see.
Lots of trinkets out.
Can you hear us, Michael? Loud and clear. Perfect. That works.
Sweet.
All right.
Oh, nice.
A
Yeah.
nice little microphone thing.
Cool.
Yeah. And then these are ones if you want to charge them yourself or gift them out to people.
Bluetooth.
Oh, nice.
Hey.
You. Sneak in.
Yeah, we're still probably 5-ish minutes out from jumping into the class.
Michael Sanchez says, I hear you loud and clear. And that's the Michael you're talking to.
Yeah. He's one of the moderators.
Right now, we're paying attention.
Hey, whatever you want, dude. Don't mod. Yeah, so we got one of our moderators here, moderators from
Nice.
Florida. So she's usually on TikTok, and this is Tina, by the way.
Hi, Tina. Nice to meet you.
Who's traveled all the way from Florida, and we've been on an adventure the last few weeks, which has been pretty crazy. Yeah, she usually moderates on TikTok for us,
Oh, okay.
which is really cool. Have you in person? Yeah, you just got to moderate here now.
Keep
But
all of
sassy.
us in line.
Yeah.
Good luck. Do we want to get the hearts out maybe before class? We have some quartz crystal hearts. We, charge, structures, added additional frequencies too. So if you're interested, you're welcome to pluck one out of there and keep it.
Pass it around. Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Of course, if everybody listening and here in class knows, crystal holds energies, charges, so it's kind of like a thumb drive sort of thing. I got a few, so I guess we decided no other trinkets.
Just got a couple minutes, and then we'll start.
Nice.
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. But I just people see me.
I'll tell you what's unusual about this class.
Really,
Because of Ty.
want to touch it.
There's about 4 times as many, we'll say, etheric beings in here right now going on. I am like heating up.
I can feel. Yeah, that's
Oh.
what I'm
Right,
trying to
when,
set up the structures.
Oh, yeah.
When Brian walked in, I was like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like more like
Yeah.
Feel free to sit if you want.
Yeah, it's like hazing my vision.
Yeah, I could feel it building up.
Feel it.
yeah.
It is.
At the back of my head.
Oh, there's going to
Whole
be.
body, I can feel it going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say it's more than a packed room.
Oh, thank you.
It's going to be interesting having a bunch of.
Lots of extras.
Oh.
There'll be lots of energy.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say a whole lot of energy
Yeah.
and an energy. Heck, everybody needs an energy flinger too. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you must have got a bunch of people on TikTok too that
Yeah,
came in
that's,
because
yeah,
I was
no,
like,
there's, yeah,
Oh,
no,
is that
let's see if
what's-
we can look. Yeah, that's what's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
At least 132 people.
okay,
Is that
I
it?
was like, all of a sudden it was like,
Yeah.
damn, okay,
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot of
That's how
energy.
you deal with in the lives the whole time. It's just
Like,
that.
How do you even do it? Because when I go live, there's like 3.
Yeah, it's
And I think it's me on 3 computers. So it's not that big a deal. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there'll probably be about 5,000 that move through it.
Is there?
Something
Okay.
like that.
As it continues through, yeah.
Mhm.
and more
Yeah,
later, sure.
usually.
Sure. Huh, that's interesting. Yeah. And then
Getting
all those
paid
attached
yet
too.
With all those followers.
No?
No,
Need
no,
more?
it's not. I guess I don't know how that works.
I don't know how it works either.
No, I think it's myth that you make money off that stuff. Unless
Oh,
you're
what's
like
that?
rich, or I mean not rich yet, like one of those big time streamer
Oh.
people.
Yeah.
You know, with millions of followers.
Yeah.
Goodness.
I think we'll probably be good on physical chairs, probably.
Wow. So I guess I'll talk to people on TikTok real quick
Thinking of you
and
this
just
morning.
mention what's going on because
I
I guess
know.
there's not much to that. But essentially, we are doing a class here at Mystical Wares in Mount Vernon, Washington, on energy healing, just healing in general. I think we're just going to kind of wing it. We'll probably talk a bit about light language, of course, and light coding. Probably some some practical techniques on healing to share, and maybe some demonstrations, and then of course doing some group healing and activation work as well. So it's for everybody. I don't look when there's some.
I know. I
We'll
just
be all
look
over.
everywhere as well. Yeah.
Usually I'm a very eye contacty person. But who do I talk to? Am I talking to Mike? Do I talk to you?
I know. Then you feel the energy, and you're not
Yep.
sure who to look at. So, yeah. And again, we're gonna be all over the place. No set structured course here, so we're all hanging out. And there'll be Q&A time. So I don't. Did you want to maybe? Are you ready? Do you want to hang out for a little bit more?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Actually, because I'm interested in hearing. Actually, Ty speaks some more about the different modalities you use and how. First of all, so
Yeah.
everybody.
I guess first I should introduce myself, I guess. So I'm Ty. I kind of go by Ty L, which is just a kind of the name and assignment that I've given to my higher self. So when I'm doing energy work or healing work or anything really that's at a higher level, what you might perceive as a higher consciousness level, I just assign that title to it, that brand to it. But essentially I am a energy worker, a quantum architect, a light weaver, spell slinger, whatever fancy title you want to throw on it, but I'm not a big fan of labels and titles. So really, but my passion is essentially to use different tools and techniques that I can share with people that they can use practically to help them embody their highest self as quickly as possible. And so yeah, like I mentioned, I use a technique or a set of tools called light language. I'm trying to use it try to call it light linguistics now, just because I think it sounds nicer.
I like that.
Yeah, I like it. And because it's not just a language. So light language is a universal expression of energy, and it can be expressed in different ways. So I express it through vocalizations, different sounds that carry energy, so it's not necessarily direct translation always, it can be translated. And then there's also, I use the sacred geometry of my body, what we would call coding and signing, to do the same thing. Energy's building up real quick. So this would be an example of some light language, light coding, that I'm doing now just to help settle down my energy. So that is an example of expressing some light languages. It sounds a bit, it can sound like different languages, it can sound like different, just different frequencies, it can sound like sound effects, it can sound like all sorts of things. And it can also be expressed written too, in artwork. Lola over here expresses it through singing and through her artwork, which is amazing. But it's a tool, so we use it mostly for healing. Or activation work or upgrade work. And healing, of course, we know about healing, but activations, is just another way of saying like rememberings for me. So when I talk about activations, it's about triggering something within you that you already kind of know. So one of the things that I do using these tools is activate people to do it themselves. So that's a big part of this work is once you trigger this into other people, they start expressing it themselves. And it's not really something that's necessarily taught. It's usually activated, and that activation, so it's a remembering, and it all of a sudden starts to rise up in you, and you start to express it, and it becomes really very natural. It's very much a remembering. But then upgrades are just the idea of taking whatever is going on in you already, and just bumping up that energy, or bumping up, giving you upgrades on your goodies. If your sight's already, you got your psychic sight going on, it's just going to increase that. But yeah, that's kind of. Well, that's me. But.
Yeah, I love the terms and descriptions you got going in there too.
Yeah.
Because there's no set way. There's not a title we all have to have. So that's why many of us use the term energy worker, like us three up here. It's, vague, but it's also all encompassing. So that's really interesting. I love the description. I'm gonna steal half of that, by the way, and start using it as well. And I'm sometimes what's called a seer in certain societies or understandings. So I prefer the term perceiver of frequencies. So I can actually see the stuff going on. We can talk about etheric beings, but energy's really, because everything's energy. And once you can perceive energy, and that can be with your third eye as well, so what you can call your imagination. And we all have imagination, so we can start there. But yeah, so we can just
I
roll on in.
I guess also it might be helpful to know how I interface with energy and how I kind of perceive things. So I'm not a seer like Derek is, per se. So I don't see things, I don't visualize things. Most of what I experience is very physical, like energetically sensitive. So like clairsentient or claircognizant. So I know things just drop in. It's kind of how I interface with spirit. And then using my body through feeling and through moving to kind of be guided in that way. So if you see me, I'll be trying to calm down my energy every once in a while because certain energies come in and I can feel it and it's just woo woo. So if you just give me a second as I adjust my energy at times, but because I'm very sensitive in that way.
Yeah, I think often we all are too. So I'm sitting over here heating up by 100 degrees, just sitting here talking. Then also being around another intuitive energy worker like Julissa's, well, all of us up here doing it, and all of you, your focus and listeners too, all add frequency and energy to it. So we're all energy sensitives. You all feel the energies, just different ways is all. And part of it's assigning a language to it. Mm-hmm.
How long have you been doing this, and how did you know, for those of that might have children that might be exhibiting, how old were you when you started doing this, and how did you connect?
Yeah, great question. I'm not sure that I've done it my whole life. I think it's been there. It's something that I've been very intuitive in my movements. And, you know, I did a lot of sports. I did a lot of athletics, and it was just very intuitive for me. It's very much a knowing thing. So it kind of has always been there, but I started experiencing a lot of physical pain at a point. And I think that's when it really started to activate. So I would start to get a lot of tension in my body. And eventually I started to try to find ways to heal that, to try to manage that pain. And through that I was exploring different techniques, and some of those I'd like to share today. Just really simple ways of just feeling energy with your hands and feeling energy with your body, and then allowing yourself to move with the energy. So that's really how I started first, is just by feeling the bubbles of energy, the stuck energy in my body, and just feeling as deeply as possible while relaxing as deeply as possible. And when you do that, you'll start to move intuitively. Your hands will start to move automatically. And that's really how I started to notice that there was something going on in that way. And then you start to just go with that flow of it, and it becomes very intuitive. So it essentially got activated at one point where it got forced out of me, because it had been there because I was doing this work and I was feeling things, and it would start to move. My hands would shake a little bit, and I had never seen it done though. So I hadn't actually seen anybody else do it. And as soon as I saw somebody else do similar to the way that I do it, it was boom, all of it was on instantly. Just because I was like, oh, that's what's going on. And then it was just, and there's different expressions of it too. So some of it, you know, there's these little finger shaking ones, which is a little more like coding or weaving. But there's also more that's like more of these mudras, and some are more wavy, and some are more for moving energy. And so there's a lot of different ways of coding. But that can be done through your whole body too. So a lot of people code and they don't even realize it. So that you can code through your eyes, you can code through your tongue, all sorts of different ways. When we're doing these movements too, I'm moving energy not just in my hands, and it doesn't really matter where you look. It's a very quantum way of doing energy work. So it's not like I'm just focused on you. I can be doing 20 things at once, doing this coding work. But yeah, for kids, I think, especially with kids, it's something that we have, all of us, I believe, that we all have within us, because it's a very universal way of interfacing with energy. You know, you don't have to directly translate it. To me, like light language is a very much like music, in the way that, like a song, you don't have to know the lyrics of a song to feel the energy of the music, right? To feel the emotion in the music. And even if you did know the lyrics, multiple people knew the lyrics to the same song, each person might interpret it completely different. And that's kind of the way that light language works. And I just kind of view this whole, like all of it as music. I see all of us as music. I see the universe, the one song, universe, as like one big song, and we're each an instrument being played in that. And so that when I do this type of thing, I'm literally playing in my body like an instrument. So I'll be moving over different chakra points, and which are different, like almost different frequency ranges, and then using those to utilize these different energies to do work. But I'm not sure if that answered your question fully or not. Great question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love how you get the visualization, the aspect of it in there, kind of thing. Because it's kind of boring. I just stand there and open my hands. Yeah,
we can do it. It's just a tool.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely. I mean, you can do it without even moving as well. So like you can. I definitely do it a lot with my eyes, and like I mentioned, with my tongue. So it's something you can do without even moving. But you add more. From my perspective, it seems to add more power when you add the physical aspects to it. So using your body to move. Adding different layers of. Like it's not just the hands moving, it's where the eyes are looking, it's where the body's moving. It's every little aspect is a different instrument in a symphony of this energy that you're playing, if that makes sense.
So does it come out just out of the blue, or do you intentionally start doing that?
With me, it originally happened kind of out of the blue. It got forced out of me. I'd been introduced to light language previously. I've been around light language for a long time, but it didn't feel like it was right for me. And I was like, that's not for me. I'm gonna find my thing. you know, I'm going to do my thing or whatever. And I pushed it away for quite a while. And then it got pushed out of me, like literally forced me, where I couldn't breathe, like squeezed my lungs until I started making like really like archaic sounds, which built into different sounds, and then they built into different languages, and those different languages would translate into different languages, and then I'd be singing and making tones. I'm like, I don't sing, I don't make tones. Like, what does all this happen? And it would happen for it was like 2 hours of it, like just nonstop. It would just keep coming out and coming out, and there's a lot of emotion with it as well, especially in the beginning. Once you get activated, there's a lot of emotion that comes up from deep inside you when these are expressing, because a lot of times they're different aspects of ourselves. So when we start to do healing work, you know, we'll heal our childhood, we'll heal what's, you know, going on in our adult life, and then we start to heal things from other lives, right? However you want to refer to past lives, quantum lives, whatever you want to call them. But once we start to integrate those quantum lives, some of those quantum lives have different gifts, they have different understandings, they have different you know, abilities, they come from different places. And when you do healing in those ways and you reintegrate those aspects of them into you, these things will come on. So you'll get more and more. So as far as like how many dialects or expressions of light language that I've expressed, I have no idea. I've gone as long as I could and tried to do a different expression every 20 seconds, and just keeps going and going and going.
So the reason for it is that to clear stress, to get on a higher level, to heal someone and yourself, right? Is that? I'm so ignorant when it comes to light language.
No, it's perfect. No, yeah, no,
if
it's.
If I'm saying really dumb questions, is because really I.
Definitely not dumb questions. No, this stuff is pretty far out there. Like I'm well aware that it's pretty far out.
What is the reason for it?
It's a tool. It's an expression of energy, and it's some but we can use it in those different ways. So like if I can use it intentionally, it will come out, but I will use it intentionally. So the way that it generally works when you're using it is you're holding an intention, and you can hold an intention in whatever way that you want. You can hold it in visualization. You can just know it to be true or set it before. You can add different layers to make it stronger. But then you just let loose. It's like playing. You really just want to play, and just like music, I use music a lot in the work that I do. I'll play music and then channel to it. It's a form of channeling, really, because you're just following the energy. But you set the intention, and then you can channel some music. You'll notice you sync up to the music quite easily, just because that's just the way that the energy is, the sound is. But yeah, it's a powerful tool to use in that way. Just play with it. Just play. It's a plaything.
May I say something? So it could be used like a form of dance. So I'm sure that we all kind of do that, especially you. Yeah, so you just don't know that you're doing it. But when you are doing it and you're in the flow, that could also be considered light language.
100%. Yep.
It's like automatic writing.
Yep.
Same thing.
Thing. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What comes to mind when you were doing the movements, I thought that looks almost like Tai Chi, that you were, clearing everything.
Yep. It does, yep. That's one of the instruments in the symphony that's happening. So a lot of it, there'll be moving energies, and then the fingers. So we're essentially like big, like instruments. So our chakras, our different energy centers that are located up our body are like playing different notes, like at different. Notes, like in holding a finger is almost like holding a note, or putting it over a certain area, a certain chakra is like holding a note and then strumming with the energies. There's a lot of different ways that it gets mixed together, but yeah.
That's a good description, because when I see you doing light language and whatnot, when you're talking about an instrument, and I perceive the aura, the biofield around somebody doing it, and when you were just doing that, you're playing it like strings on a guitar or a violin or something like that. You're plucking frequencies or energy sensors around people, and you're actually lighting up, because you were just doing it just by demoing, assuming to what you were doing, the finger movements, where you were affecting yours. So I'm watching them all shiver and shake and do different things.
Yeah, playing strings.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you don't have to know how to do it. You go with the flow, the feel of it, sort of thing.
Absolutely. Yep.
Can you play the strings on someone else?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, absolutely. That's a big part of what we do is doing it for other people to activate things within them, and it can be used for anything, any intentions. Yeah, you can do all sorts of stuff. Manifestation with it. You can set up structures. You can heal people, of course. You can activate them, upgrade them. I mean, there's really no limits, and that's why I refer to it as a tool. And it's kind of just a part of who we are. That's the tricky part about it. It's not really a thing that we do per se. Once it gets activated within you, it's part of who you are. So with me, I have to express it. Otherwise, it builds up a lot of tension in my body, and you can feel it when I have what we call light codes that want to come through, which are just, light is information. So we call it light language. We're just essentially saying it is the data language. It's an information syntax. It's a way to express information because that's what light is. So when we're, that just dropped out. Totally went. My mind just went totally blank. What was I saying?
The light and syntax and the coding.
Light language is data. What?
Yeah.
After that or before?
You're basically talking about, it's more so that now in my words would be the intention behind what you're doing is where it is. So it's multi-layers, but you were using different terms and syntax and whatnot, but that's, I know, I get it. That happens to me too. All of a sudden you get wiped and you never know. And the question back there?
Part of the process asking for assistance or reaching out to guides or I mean, there's an intention, but is it also the process actually asking for help? Is
that can be part of it, absolutely. Yeah, it's up to the person. Everybody works a little bit differently, Everybody works with spirit a little bit differently. I like to work just, with myself. Just different aspects of myself and express it that way. I do have like protocols that I use just to make sure that I'm accessing certain aspects of myself that have the highest good of everyone in mind, because we do have a lot of aspects that have different agendas at times, and they can be doing their own thing, which is great for them, but it might not be great for everybody. So yeah.
higher self or
Yeah. So I always just tap into my higher self, my highest self, set clear intentions that, no harm will be done, no energy will be taken that's not freely given out of love, and it'll be in alignment for the highest good of all only. That just to help set that up to just make sure that that's what's coming through. I always set intentions, whatever the transmission is going to be for. I set, as clear as I can without it being too specific. And then I do some connecting things. I set up, boundaries and things like that to make sure things are nice and safe. But those are things that I choose to do. They're not necessary. This is very intuitive. It happens automatically. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to ask for it. I just do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like choosing the radio station, but not the songs you listen to on it. So, not being, not to be specific. Just put a little love station, and you get to hear the songs and frequencies. Yeah, you'll hear or feel what's needed, kind of things. Yeah, I love how you're doing it. You don't without set distinctions, or set plans on things. So providing what's needed at the time, sort of thing, and then listening to their higher selves. Yeah, without any set recipes.
Yeah, you kind of, it's really, you want to, of course, go into it with only love as the intention, and then you just kind of, it's a knowing thing is really important. I think of the main clairs that I've noticed with people who express light language quite a bit seem to be like clear sentience and clear cognizance, which is clear knowing, so you just know things, and then feeling energies, being able to feel those energies. Because that's just kind of how it works. You don't think about it. You don't need to do anything. You just feel the energies and you move with it. Just very much like dance. If you've danced, you've done light language.
Yeah, you just remember.
Yep.
Yeah, go with the flow. There's no wrong dance if it feels good.
Absolutely right. Yeah. Absolutely right. Yeah, there's not necessarily a certain way to do things. You just go with the flow of it. But you'll start to notice patterns when you do things as well. So you'll start to notice, okay, well, when I'm trying to do this thing, I'm doing more of this. Like if I want to upgrade somebody, I'm going like this more, or things like that. Or if I'm moving energies, I might be doing more of this, or, it varies. So there are themes to it, It's not just random. There's definitely consistencies, because it's just like music.
Mm-hmm. And it can change too. So when I do my sessions, sometimes I'll get the visualization over to the right, and sometimes it moves. And now, Ty and I were talking about earlier, it's now my vision's between us too, so I can see the stuff between me and whatever I'm looking at. And that can be a little overwhelming as well, because there's a lot of stuff there and things going on. But it does change, is my bigger point here. So even if he uses certain hand gestures or muscle movements for one thing, that can modify or change as he feels it per person.
Yep.
So he's an energy chef. Not everybody wants your meal the exact same way. So there'll be slight differences, and he'll just intuitively pick up on it. And most of the time, we won't even know it or be aware of it. So it's interesting. Did you have any comments? Or?
No, I feel like I kind of sit back in the background a lot more. So kind of what you're saying, it's like I hold space, and I'm definitely clairsentience, claircognizant, and just to kind of help move the energy. But I usually I have shy hands, so usually you'll see me coming to this, like start doing a little bit more stuff here and there, but usually I keep my hands down low and try not to show too much poker face.
So I'm sure that there is a lot of people here that do Reiki as well. Like, how can you incorporate the both?
That's a great question. Great question. And a lot of people ask that too. To me, I actually see Reiki is very much kind of like light language. It is, it's a form of channeling. You're channeling energies. You're connecting to certain energies, and you're letting those flow through. So that's a big part of it, is letting that move through. But also in Reiki, you'll notice that they use different symbols. So they'll do one of these as like a shoku rei to do a certain thing. That's a form of light language. You're moving with the energies, and it's connected to a glyph, which is also a form of light languages. We use like little glyphs or light codes that are entangled to certain things, certain functionalities. So Reiki uses those codes to entangle certain functionalities, and once you do that, it's like loading a program, and that's a way that a lot of this works as well. It's like loading a program that runs automatically. That's why we call it coding. It's just a lot of it's like viewing things like a big quantum computer, and then changing the code. Like it's a big video game. You can change the code behind the video game to change the experience. Like cheat codes.
This whole universe is a sandbox, if you know that gamer term we'll talk about. Yeah, you can modify it with your imagination and emotions. You don't have to have physical widgets and hammers and nails. Yeah, you can change your reality by your thoughts and feelings. And then don't sit there and wait for some trick in front of you to change color or something like that. But change your overall emotions, feelings, and thoughts and imagination, and then in your reality, everything will line up and change as needed for you. And there's lots of ways of looking at that too. But be open to energies, frequencies. And then again, if you go out without set recipes, as I like to jokingly term, be open to modifying those things. So, and then if you're in front of somebody like Tyel, when he's doing the light language, if you're sitting there, you can have a thought, because that's all it takes. So, well, I want just what's best for me, or what's in alignment with my higher self. So then you have a double layer there. You don't have to worry. You don't have to anyway, but just, again, a thought. So it's something to think about. Your intentions matter more so than anything else, because we all can say certain terms or phrases, and they mean or feel differently to each of us. So like, peppers on my food aren't as spicy as to somebody else. So, it's a perspective thing. So your overall intentions are really what matter. Of course, your words do as well, but intentions are the real energy. So, because 90% of this reality is metaphysical, 10% is physical, so the 90% matters. And how you play with that is your emotions and imagination.
Sorry, I just want to say 10% matters then, right?
Oh, funny. Yeah.
Can't help it. Dad jokes.
That's good.
But yeah, that's a great question. What was I going to propose? I mean, I was thinking we could just show some, right?
Sure.
I think that would be a good way to is this. One thing I want to mention first too, on that same page, is that it's a quantum way of doing energy work. So I can set an intention that's for everyone's highest good only, but each person can set their own intentions and ask for something specific, and they'll get that. And so it's like working, it's like splitting off into tons of different versions of me, and they're each working together with you to get you what you need. So that's why it can be really easy to work in group settings, because we can do a lot of work just by doing, working a lot of people by just doing one thing at one time. So I do that a lot online with large groups of people. Activation. So somebody might get an activation. They might get a light language activation, and another person might get healing. Their leg might be better all of a sudden. And then it's the same transmission where it's all the same thing. But we can do that here too. So I figure we can just start with that, and then maybe we can experience it, and then we can ask more questions, or we can dive into some of that. But if you're open to that idea, you don't really have to do anything. What I would suggest to do is just relax deeply, and then set your own intention. So you can set your own intention for, would you like healing? Would you like an activation? Would you like an upgrade? You can try to be specific if you want. It's up to your higher self. It's not up to me, because this is the way that it works. Is I only channel aspects of myself. And my self works directly for your higher self to get you what you need. That's why we can do a lot of work at one time. So you can set whatever intention you want. If you want an activation or whatever, and then you just relax. You can, if you're a very visual person, I recommend to close your eyes and just watch, because a lot of visions can come through for people. Feel your body if you're a feeler, because a lot of sensations may come through. If you don't feel anything, it doesn't mean that it's not working either. Some people don't feel things ever, But I would say most people that don't feel things will eventually start to feel things after we start to remove more layers of density on our body or in our energy field. We'll start to be more sensitive to these subtle energies. That sound good? People want to do that? Okay. And you don't have to receive. If you don't want to receive, just just set that intention. I'm not interested. And of course, I'm going to set some intentions on my own end to assist with that. Cool. Yeah. Cool. So first, what I'm going to do is just ask everybody to relax. You just take a deep breath. Just relax in your seat. Get comfortable. And then I'll walk through my process of how I kind of set up before I do a transmission for a group. So what I like to do before I do this is I like to connect my pillar of light, and I do this by opening up a portal to the grand central sun and just pulling through pure source consciousness down through our sun portal, and then down through what my chakra systems, through every chakra in my body, every cell, and then out through my root and down into the center of the earth. I go down into the crystal core of the earth. So then any codes that are relevant for the collective, anything, Mother Earth gets healing, whatever is appropriate. And then we're going to bring some now grounding energy back up through the rocks and minerals, up through the root, up through all the chakras, up through the crown and back up to source. I'm just going to ask that to continue to flow. Then I'm just going to set some intentions. So I'm going to ask my highest self to step in any aspects of myself that are specialists for anything that needs to come through for anybody today to step up. I'm going to, so I'm going to ask that no harm will be done through this work, no energy will be taken that's not freely given out of love. It'll be in alignment for the highest good of all only. So the intentions today are for anybody to set their own intentions. So whatever's for everyone's highest good, the highest good of all only. So now I'll just express it. So just feel your body, you can set your intentions, and I will just let loose. Yarmado hannara hasa era to barishite ko so arriba shatu erame ledin der sa ta hu so ko anda iko emarati ji ade to ziyada par sho na su barsha lena na hora harsha nikke ke wenna bo arwe suara le purana data sa harsha ta ki por ma ha iko dati sa ninra nur harsha da iko ma iko ko ya ko la cha ta 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 ish rahtandara pesuranna ta yusin bo boy rasa ta ta ush orch makiak to ish mian do moro par shoya na sa hachiran mi osu chirana da sayera push arita kitu la rasha inna ki koma harajati borsu la boy ho leta la zombo sakita vente shokorasa cheka to mara pa yo ko te paska ko go te paska ko skata ko te ko der ko te skata ko te ko sari ko skata ascolta per scade tutto l'ombra hassandara secchero poshoyando la shandara rande tu guardo mai cosa la satata te corria ora hatta so qua chikmata iada na tasha lamnia nania quaia hol oya la tais liste nania hol ora ci ora passo rai shara anna la hasaraya to ai tutti la ore ma quello che mani guardo quello ma io wala do wal far shaka shakwa hata satata ko so ma hore to ish to re shwe to so war chata tista ya manda ya haya tura sharya ta ne kita unge hat mish ratatata lo humbo e cure solo lanna nanda ya tole me sharia tashandu la tashandu ke with numma sai la tada nanya ratando e karashadu lo ready, you can start coming back slowly. Body, take your time.
Some of you may have heated up some too during that.
My hands were moving
Yeah.
around, like all around.
I like to call that higher self integration.
Yeah,
So,
it was like just moving around. Yeah.
Is that new for you?
I mean, I feel energy a lot in my hands, and actually I did a Reiki session, and I noticed a lot of movement in my hands. So
You're probably already expressing it and just not knowing it yet. So I would just play. I would recommend putting on music and playing and just letting your hands move or dancing and whatever feels right. Does anybody else have any experience? Perfect.
And I have like a copper paste or copper paste going on
Copper?
right now.
Yeah, there was a reason for that. I've been doing little things over here too. Lots of chefs working. Yeah.
Dynamics have gotten a lot brighter.
Oh, perfect. Oh, cool. So you're seeing it? Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. So some people can see it happening. You know, some people see the codes and it looks like, you know, something like from the Matrix. So it can look like all sorts of different things. But yeah, and it's just and one thing to keep in mind too is this is kind of like an upload. It's like creating packages of information, packages of data that we give access to your higher self, and then they unpack it over time. So just keep that in mind that there's an integration process too. And something might not happen right away. It's going to be something that the codes move through gently. When we do these healing sessions, like when I do my sessions one-on-one, I do a lot of coding in that time, and it will unpack over time. So there's a bit of an integration process. I don't know if that'll happen for you today. It depends on what you ask for. But yeah.
Definitely heat right here, tingly, and you were in a tunnel. I felt you like you were in a tunnel. Your voice,
Interesting.
like it wasn't clear. It was more muffled when you were talking.
Oh, interesting. Cool.
There was about this many other individuals in here, and I hadn't seen it before, doing the same coding above them. So think guides,
Yeah,
galactics,
that's right.
I use those terms loosely. So this many people, how many people are in this room here, we're up there doing things as well, which is why a lot of you are going to even up. So I was kind of, some of you may have noticed, evening things out in here as well. There's a lot of frequencies being flung. So whole buffet is what I'm saying over there. Yeah, it's a big buffet, and you choose what you want on there kind of thing. So there's a lot, you heat up, may feel tingles. A lot of you on your lower backs, you can feel, because that's where I was watching the energies go. But oh yeah, there's a lot happening in here when you're doing that. That's really, really interesting. So it's like, for someone like me, it's like walking into a candy store with, your favorite candy everywhere. And my basket's not big enough. I'm like, wow. Yeah, so it's getting really excited kind of thing. So yeah, when you're doing things like, move energy, it's just like you'd worded beforehand, clear, ground, earth, relax, chill the heck out while it's happening. Lots of ways of saying it, but that's when you can really integrate and take advantage of the energies. Because otherwise, some of them can be startling, overwhelming, like, what's that big whoosh of energy? Or, so that's just choosing your head, what's best for me. And you don't have to worry about anything else from there, because it's your intention that matters.
Did you have
I did. While you were going through the tones and syllables, I noticed your different tones and syllables match people's projections of emotions that were ballooning out occasionally.
that makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful observation. Cool.
Can I make a request?
Absolutely.
Not all of us here at 100%, so I have no clue what that gentleman was saying. So either if you could repeat little pieces of it,
Yeah.
I'd appreciate it, because this ear is ringing, and I'm, so.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Am I
And
speaking loud enough?
I'm probably not the only one, but I'm one that will speak up.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah, am I speaking loud enough? Is that or no?
You are now.
I am not. Okay, just
When
kind of
you-
raise it up a
When
little
you
bit.
get in the thing, it's like, we tend to, my boss is a mumbler, it's like,
Yeah,
stop it. But thank you.
I'm guilty for
Well,
sure.
no, not guilty. It's awareness.
There you go.
You
Thank
have,
you.
30 people here, and I doubt if everybody's, but that's
Yeah, everybody's different. Thank you.
Were there any other questions right at this point from anybody?
There's some interest online. They're
Oh.
asking about Julissa.
Yeah.
And then they're also asking about your medicine bags.
Oh, yeah. And actually, I don't know if we even got into it for those online too. So we're at Mystical Wares, metaphysical store, rock and gem store in Mount Vernon, Washington, at mysticalwares.com. What's in my little pouch here is also what I'm holding, and it's a piece of shungite. We call it Cosmic Silver Shungite. So we actually tumble it with pure silver, and I won't get into that whole explanation, but it's very special shungite that we do make, and it's one of the strongest energy tools that I'm aware of. And I've been holding it here, just again, earthing, grounding, removing excess energies. So it's kind of like an etheric fan, you can think of it. But that's what's also in here. And then The other little rock that you can't quite see is a piece of lepidolite. So it's a purplish-like stone, very calming, soothing. And for those of you that know me in here, you probably think, go grab 4 more of them, put it in your pouch, and then put 10 pouches on. Yeah. So it really, really works. Yeah, kind of high energy. Yeah. So that's what's in my pouch. I'm not sure what's.
I have shungite as well, and I'm pretty sure I have saffordite and moldavite in here.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
lepidolite.
Oh,
And
I wouldn't do
yeah.
It's not bad. Is
What
it?
else do I have in here?
Yeah.
No, but it's so hard to explain all the different things that we do. Like sometimes when I sit here, I feel like, especially between you two, I feel kind of like an anchor. Like sometimes when they start doing otherworldly things or, you know, higher things, I almost feel like an anchor. Okay, bring it back down and like, let's get back down here and go back to what it was that we were talking about and wrap it back around. So it's a little easier to understand for some of us. But when you're channeling that, like everything felt great, but I did feel like some like heaviness in the heart. But I think we all kind of have we all need help here a lot of times, integrating love and compassion and understandings and.
And it can create. I mean, pain can come up too, as well with people when we do this work as well. You know, as energies are shifting, we might feel. We can consider it pain. Emotions come up quite a bit. When I was first started expressing a lot of light language, there was emotion the entire time, and I was like, oh, I don't like this at all, because every time I would start expressing it, I would just like be bawling and it would pop up in certain areas. So I might be what people would refer to as like a grid worker. So I work a lot with bigger structures, like planetary structures, and just things that are part of. I guess I don't know how else to articulate that, but working with those energies. So as a grid worker, I would go around to different places, and at certain spots, it just like it gets triggered. You know, like okay, I got to clear something here. I got to do this, or I got to drop off some codes here. And a lot of times when I do that, you know, there's a lot of emotion that comes with it, like clearing land and clearing traumas. So that was really intense for a while. It's not as intense anymore. I'm thinking we can just kind of clear stuff, but there is definitely emotion. So things can come up, pain can come up. Sometimes we identify things as pain or anxiety when it's just energy as well. It's just a communication, but there's our past that says, oh no, this is a pain, this is bad, it can be tricky because then it kind of creates this loop that keeps it there. So if you kind of lean into it, that's how I always, how I suggest to do things. If you feel pain, if you feel emotions, lean into it and it'll help it shift a lot faster. Again, like I mentioned in the beginning, I got into this work to try to help my pain. I was diagnosed with I guess if you want to call it a serious condition that they were saying would be incurable, and they even labeled it terminal at one point. But it created a lot of pain in my body. So I was trying to figure out a way to manage that. First was just about trying to find a way to manage pain. And that's really how I started to discover these things, is by feeling that energy like I mentioned before, and just really feeling, like leaning into the pain as deeply as possible. And then once you start doing that, like I mentioned before, it's going to start moving. You're going to move with the energies because the energies are moving. And it can be that simple. So I started to heal myself to get to a point where my light languages were coming out by just feeling, literally just by feeling and releasing, and just allowing it to move and just relaxing as deeply as possible, and then allowing those energies to move out, which has been, and then everything just starts to come to you. You don't have to go searching for it, stuff that's already in you. Like we are already perfect from my perspective. We're just full of all this noise. Like I say, if we're music, we are our own unique song. We're our own unique signature frequency. That's our song. We are the song. But unfortunately, the way that I view healing is that there's noise in our song. There's a whole bunch of songs that aren't in alignment with the music that sounds good, right? If you have 5 songs playing at once, you're like, oh, what is this crap? And you start removing the noise from it. You just start to hear that music, and it's a beautiful music. Yeah, that's it. And it's as simple as that is the way that I view it. But.
When you're doing that also, by the way, when you're doing the light language and the coding and the different, I'll just say frequency work, when I can see what they call different dimensions, they're not different places, they're all here around us, they're just different perspectives is another way of looking at it or thinking about it. You're actually kind of weaving or quilting, I'll say, energies or dimensions together, making them more accessible. So when I look at you and I perceive Tyel over here, I can see Ty's higher self and other aspects of himself, And as he's flinging the energies of frequencies, as I jokingly call it, he's actually kind of like, again, I'm gonna have to go with some sewing or stitching analogy or description, the dimensions together, so he has more access to it kind of thing. So he's not going away, it's all here, just opening up his channel. And when I, again, visually see it, I can see now that, again, the other aspects of himself, or other versions of himself, however you want to term it, he can more easily integrate now, and that's what we do. So use your imagination, and then being, as he also mentioned, grid worker, well, that's actually a pretty good description, but it's an environmental, he makes a frequency field, and even a pocket of energy, you can call it lots of things, and when you're in those environments, be it around individuals like us, or doing your own, and we can make these spots in places like Mystical Wares behind us, which is why these pyramids are here. You don't have to have somebody around, you can do it yourself with just the visualization. So knowing it's all there, using the imagination and maybe stitching it together, now it's more easily accessible, kind of like a quilt. Yeah. So you're like, an energy quilt or weaver. It's
light weaver,
that's awesome.
Crocheter.
Yeah, that's.
I like that one.
Yeah, because you have a version of you tapping you on the back. You're gonna feel it here, bottom of your neck, tingling your neck, kind of thing. It's another version of you. I can touch him easier now, and that's your etheric sign language. Those weird, subtle energies, or whooshes, or tinnitus-like symptoms. It's other aspects of yourself saying, "Hey, wake up, pay attention." And there's more to pay attention to. So it's neat to see something like your work as well, on different levels.
Yeah, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it popped into my mind, but another way that I don't think light language is as far off to people's perspectives as they might perceive. I think I see it all over the place. I see it being expressed all over the place. Like even just the idea of magic. Right, like when we think about a wizard or whatever, they're speaking their Latin, right? They're speaking spells. They're slinging spells, as I would like to call it. There's incantations, and that's what is. You're creating this music, this functionality by using these different tools. So it's around,
Yeah. Do you have to verbally say something, or can it all be internally?
It can be internally, yeah, definitely. And even when I don't need to be verbal at the same time, I can just do the hands it's like adding different layers. So if you add more layers to it, it just is adding more songs to it, more music.
Light with feeling intention, or speaking sound with feeling intention.
Say that again?
Casting light with feeling intention, or speaking sound with feeling intention.
That's right, yeah, casting light with speaking intention or feeling sound.
Yeah, a lot of the good stuff in music is in the frequency, not the sound. So literally, you can turn it all the way down. And did you know you can also take they probably don't make them anymore, CD-ROMs. I'm aging myself here. So you could take, I could have said cassette or 8-track, but those have frequency. Yeah, you don't have to play them. You can actually take a CD with a frequency on it or a song or playlist, put it down. We've done this experiments at a couple of doctor friends we've done it with beehives. Stuck the CD under the beehive, the frequency still was there for the bees and affected them, and these are all measurable results. And you can do that at home. So there's lots of ways of doing that. Again, it's the good stuff's in the frequency, not necessarily the sound. The sound isn't bad, but that's just one layer. Remember, 90% is invisible, 10% visible. I know we're still talking about something that's invisible, but the really good stuff's in the frequency or the energy behind it. Your thoughts and feelings matter. Love's the thing, even though you can't see it. It's off the visual spectrum, but it is a frequency. So it's worth knowing.
Do you program crystals with light language?
Absolutely, yeah. Actually, we put some light language in these crystals too that we passed out. So, yeah, I definitely. Again, that's why it's just a tool. You can use it in any way. So I use it to clear crystals. I use it to charge them. And it can be entangled too. So like the idea of the glyphs. Which are just like the symbols, you see them like just little geometric symbols. A lot of times those are in what I would refer to as entangled with more information. It's like a shortcut key to a bunch of information that can be used in a certain way. That's one way to do it too. So what I like to do as well is I'm not sure if I passed these all out, but on these cards here, and you can get one afterwards, there's some of the examples of those symbols. And I'll do that, so I'll create a symbol. There's different ways that I'll do it, but essentially there'll be a symbol that's created, and then I entangle that with intentions. I set some intentions, and then I do a transmission into it. So I essentially create it into a container that is accessible through that symbol that people can use. So that's a way to use light language as well. So then you just have that symbol that's entangled with those energies. So you can put it on a shirt. You can put it, any way that you want to use it, really. So they can be used there's so many different ways to use it, because it's just data. Light language is just data. So.
You can use that remotely too. So another add-on to that, I mean, you can take somebody's picture or write their name on a piece of paper. We're doing similar things with scalar devices here. But you can put the different imagery and the symbols he's got on there, so they're continually adding into your energy field or aura as well. So it can be done remotely. Think quantum entanglement, or we're all connected. So there's no limit in time or distance. That's not a thing. That's a 3D thing. We're talking about working on quantum levels and all the levels, not just one. So yeah. So there's lots of ways of doing it. Don't restrict yourself. I mean, realize also that there's more taste buds in your mouth than your nose, and more smell buds in your mouth than your nose. Exactly opposite what you would think. So you can taste and smell with both. So don't limit yourself on your understanding. Just expand into all of this stuff, realize it's a thing, and then go with it and experience it. Again, have your overall intention set that you want what's best for you, and that's what you'll get.
Well, how about another little exercise? So I'd like to share, essentially how I started to feel the energies in order to start to follow the energies, and then things started to kind of build from there. And it's really simple. It's what I've been talking about the whole time. So if you want to do this, we'll start by relaxing. So we'll just sink into your seat, relax as deeply as you can, take deep breaths. Maybe feel into your heart space if you feel inspired to. Now I want you to try to, if you can, straighten your back as much as you can, and straighten your neck up. So try to keep your spine in alignment as best as you can. And then just relax deeply, sink into your hips. Then I want you to make sure that your eyes are relaxed, especially behind your eyes. So your eyes and behind your eyes are relaxed. And your jaw is relaxed. Just want you to feel your body deeply. Now I want you to identify anywhere in your body that you might feel tension, might feel pain. I don't want you to try to change it. I just want you to acknowledge it. Just become aware, almost like dropping a little Google Map pin on the different areas of your body. Now I want you to identify one specific area of tension in your body or pain. And I don't want you to try to change it. I don't want you to try to do anything but feel it as deeply as possible while relaxing as deeply as possible. And again, make sure your eyes are relaxed and your jaw is relaxed. Almost like hitting a booster into that, leaning into that tension or that pain. No rush. You're just observing. What we're doing is we're listening, which is one of the most powerful ways of healing, is listening to what's already there. And if your body feels like it needs to make little tiny micro adjustments, allow it to. Allow it to be like you're floating on water. You know, like you're laying on your back in water and you're just allowing yourself to bob and weave with the energy. Really lean into it. Don't try to change it. Just feel it. Listen, listen, listen. Now I'd like you to take one of your hands, relax as possible, and to place it just over the area that you're working on. You don't have, if it's somewhere low, you don't have to reach down. Just point to it with your fingertips and your hand. And for those that are sensitive, really try to feel for the subtle energy. So just off of the body. So you want to be maybe 6 inches or so off the body when you're feeling that area. And then just become very aware of what you're feeling in your hand. You don't have to do anything else, just relax, you're not changing anything, but just become super aware of what you feel in your fingertips and around your fingers. Any tingles, any pressure changes. When I feel it, it's very magnetic. So that's what I feel, is I feel a very magnetic presence, like two opposing magnets. And just feel that. And feel at the same time as you're feeling the hand that's over that area, begin to feel your other hand as well. And just relax your hand as much as possible. It's really important. And just let yourself move. If your hand begins to move in any way at all, allow it to. You're not forcing it to move. You're not trying to make it move. You might notice it moving around. But that would just be an example of how to heal all sorts of stuff using feeling to identify. So that's how I started to heal my body enough that I could start to function and manage my pain. The way that I perceive it when we do this type of work is like our energy feels like a big bubble, right? And then wherever we have these blocks in our body, these emotions that are stuck in our body, there becomes resistance and energy that creates these bubbles, and they're kind of like multiple layers of energies, right? So when we're going and we're feeling for that bubble that we've identified in that tension. So you'll start to feel that it can come in layers. The further away from the body, it seems to be deeper as well. So you can start closer, but it's going to be a little more shallow healing. But you'll notice you go through these layers, just following that feeling, following your hands. It's going to move on its own. It may take time to tune to that subtle, because it's very subtle. But it gets stronger and stronger and stronger the more that you listen to it. You're like tuning in, it's like zooming in the more that you're actually feeling it, and it gets stronger and stronger. And then you'll notice going through and working through the different layers. So as I'm like feeling here, I'm moving with it. I can feel it moving. I'm not moving my hand on purpose. It's going with the energies. See, my left hand wants to move too, so I'm going to let it move. And I'm just going to feel. I'm not trying to make it do stuff, but it's moving. And then it moves in, and then it'll usually release down and out. But it's just a really practical way that anybody can use to begin to heal in that way. It's like an energy healing, but using your electromagnetics of your body to like boost it. That's simple. Yeah.
A few years ago, when my intuition was teaching me how to do these exact things, it progressed to a point where I would be able to feel something in my body. I could release it. Then I was told to try to grab it energetically and pull. And then I became aware of hyperspace objects, where they're in probes and different types of things. So yeah, that's also psychic surgery.
Yeah. I mean, there's all sorts of ways to do it. I mean, this is just a dead simple way of processing by listening. It's the feminine way of healing. It's not the masculine way of throwing codes at it, throwing energies, and doing this, and I'm doing things that stuff. That would be masculine, like that energy of doing. The feminine is more of that receiving, that holding, that embracing what's already there. You're just holding space. You're listening to what's already there. You're listening to it. How do we heal even at a 3D level? we talk to each other a lot of times, right? Like if we're going through something really intense, we talking through it and having somebody listen to you is very, very healing, just holding that space for us. But yeah, so I love to bring up that kind of exercise, and it goes deeper and deeper. So there's different layers to it too. So you can keep, just like the light languages, you can add different layers to it, like the eyes. The eyes are really connected, and you can do all sorts of healing just with the eyes. But when you start to feel it, it's really important to relax your eyes because it's very, very connected. And you'll notice your eyes will start to move in certain ways too. And if you allow your eyes to move while you're feeling deeply, it'll help release it even quicker. So it's just like you can add more layers to it. And then when you get creative, you use your imagination and do things. You can pull on things or whatever. But it's energy. It's a play thing. You use your imagination and you kind of understand the very like basic principles of how it works, and then just play. Yeah.
I have a question. Do you think muscle fibers can interact with the field vortices around the body? So like around the head and around the back of the head, if you relax those muscles, if it can help change the mental activity in the brain?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I fully understand. Do you feel that?
Yeah, there's something to that. So it's you tie that, the physical relaxing of that to your intention, and then it'll all tie together sort of thing. So yes, there is something to that. Right. But also in the bigger picture, it's not like you have to do that to make that happen. But so it's big picture stuff on that one. But yeah, it can have an effect, definitely.
Right. I was thinking that muscle fiber contractions can do something with the light dynamics or dynamics.
Only part of your muscles are physical. A lot of them are energy. Remember, it's that energy around it. Sometimes call it orgone energy. And that's so they hang on to it. It's like energy going through the power lines out in the street. They're not hollow lines like pipes. The energy is kind of going around it. It's like a flow. Same thing in your muscles here. So if you visualize it that way, then you can use it more. So
yeah, I'm very sensitive to that. My body is very physically responsive to energies in that way. So like if there's an energy that comes into my muscles will twitch and it'll tense up, and so in that way I know I can feel how connected our physicality is to the energies. But not everybody feels it that deeply, of course.
In your case, you're more again metaphysical than physical, because your energy body goes all the way out here. So you're going to pick up on all that stuff, the frequencies and energies in the environment and substations.
Yeah, healing with others, healing hands. I could feel those energies and maneuver them or help in ways.
Yeah. Did you guys have any idea where you?
Well, I really loved how you're talking about the more feminine energy and loving, because sometimes, like during sessions, I'm just there to help, just to love and understand the aspects of others that maybe they don't know how to love about themselves, and to help them move that energy. And so, just for that remembrance, it's like it's all beautiful no matter what.
Yeah.
all our chaos is still beautiful and brings us here.
Beautiful. Do we want to maybe work on a single person and see what happens?
We can, yeah.
Does anybody, would you like to receive any healing? Yeah, what's going on? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, I was in a car accident, so I broke my left ankle and 2 left ribs and fractured my left shoulder and possibly have a torn rotator cuff.
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, if you're into that, we can maybe work together.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I was just looking as well to see what's. Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Yeah,
so you're gonna
maybe just come up here,
mm-hmm.
and then I'll show you how I work around somebody as well. So let's see if this works.
Mm-hmm. No, you're perfect. And I'll just say let Ty in the back.
I'll move you up just a little bit more, if that's okay, just so people can see. Yeah, so we'll both work here. So what I'm going to do, I'll just talk through my process, because I use a lot of different tools that aren't just light language. So I use a lot of different aspects of things. So let's see, I'm just going to feel real quick, tune in. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to put us in a container. So I'm going to put us in a chromium icosahedron, a geometry to hold energies. I'm going to rotate it gently clockwise. I'm going to ask for whatever frequencies and whatever light codes are best for her healing today, and for us that are in this container to assist, to flow around. So they're going to begin to vortex around us in a clockwise direction. And then we're going to breathe these in. I'm going to have her breathe these in as well. So breathe these in to the head, the face, the neck and the throat, into the chest, upper back, the middle back, the lower back, the whole torso, down through the legs, knees, shins, calves, ankles, feet, toes, every cell, every fiber through the shoulders, biceps, triceps, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, fingers, and thumbs. Just reestablishing my pillar of light. And just reestablishing those intentions that no harm will be done, no energy will be taken that's not freely given out of love, and it'll be in alignment for the highest good of all only. Intention is to assist at the greatest level possible to a fully healed state for all the things that were mentioned from the car accident. So what I'm going to do as well is I'm just going to connect to a masculine energy and a feminine energy. I'm going to ask for whatever feminine energy, like in a battery, like a negative and a positive. I'm going to ask for whatever is best for this to flow up. So it's going to flow up through my root and into my heart space. And then I'm going to ask to connect to whatever masculine frequency is best for this, whatever is best for her, to flow in, down through my crown, and then into my heart. So it's going to meet my heart space. And then I'm going to open my heart, and I'm going to open her heart using a code that's going to assist to just go through any blockages. And I do this by connecting through a stream from a constellation and into her heart, and then bringing down a pre-programmed code in a green cylinder. This is going to flow down into her heart. And then I'm going to eject a pink frequency out from my heart and into the back of her heart. Healing comes from the heart. And I have a little thumb drive that I've got entangled with a whole bunch of healing frequencies. And I'm just going to plug those in. And those are going to go where they need to. I'm going to put a timer on that to run for the next hour. And I'm going to run figure 8 through our whole system. This is going to help accelerate any healing that comes through. I'm going to place a code in it that keeps it running. I'll put a timer on that code for the next half an hour, and then I'm going to drop some light codes in that as well. So they're going to go where they need to. So I'm just going to go ahead and start to code, and I'll walk around her body. I don't necessarily need to do it. It's a little bit different process when I work on somebody in person. Shipe tu sadnde shahir tata wisana ko hatalisha ni tata wingo saran tu uda tata yashna quarto chi amana hata atia tata ki we ara mashu yarani summa hatu yarana to the house. Ki okoya nasata niata ikwa hana yana we chuena Get my uquana, isha, Ishko Amquequa. Lenana, Ucha, Tasiasha, Takimaka Iquana, get Ursmata, Shish, Lashana, Tuasa, Tatasha, Nightwartuma, La Chandalitis, Tatawia Quartuma, Shi Ortuma, La Hasharana, Huertur, Kikakuarna, Chiasanana, Huor to wash, Mak Quehasha, Tarashta, Chikataku Ayaka, Yokoka, what's got to put Shook a hat me a hat me a to Anna where it's na equal. Hella na show I keep what kakako your ish Nina hasa ucharana keep amama quakana Kimaka ustata ish shut back way kisho manana. I released through burping, so Come a question that is who are an hasha, ho hala hayana, swara shatashi, or Linda Shaya, Numbia Shatu Kish. She's tita satata sato. She did that war tarnish. Kimo hata Isha tana. Shoot it of a satata shay arstiamatics. Kisko, tarsh. Shkui, wow, Papa Buyasa. Ora ya haki. Shaya ora ya la era haki. So I'm going to take out a chromium cube here. I'm going to pre-program this chromium cube. What I'm going to do, I'm going to place a code in that does this automatically, but what it's going to do is I'm going to place it in the belly, and it's going to rotate in a clockwise direction. And it's going to draw in any of the toxicity, any of the pain, the trauma, from anywhere in the body that's related to, let's do the shoulder. What do you think?
Yeah, the shoulder and there's also lower back.
Okay, we'll do different. So I'll do a different code on the back. So we'll do in the shoulder, chromium cube, place a code in, and it's going to rotate in a clockwise direction. And it's going to be programmed to draw in all that toxicity, all that pain from anywhere in the body. Once it's fully filled, it's going to go back into the deepest point in space-time that contains the original trigger for whatever this is being processed. Because it's not always just this, when we have an accident, it's not necessarily just from this experience. It's something that's playing out through timelines. So it goes back to the deepest point in space-time where it contains that trigger, that root for the trigger, and then collapses it. And it's like a domino effect for any other timelines if it's related to that type of stuff. So I got this cube, placing a code in it, and I'll place it in the belly, and it's going to run automatically. So and then I'm going to take out an electric blue cylinder, place a code in it. I'll place this between the root and the sacral. And I'll explain these how they work afterwards. I'm going to ask that to go where it's needed most right now. So those are going to continue to run. So a lot of this stuff is going to be continuing to move and shift as well as we're doing these codes. I mean, we could work for quite a while, I'm sure.
I'm glad you brought up there was a past life injury tied onto that. There's a whole story in that I was getting to. Exactly, and that's the area. You're the perfect you. And a lot of you may feel subtle energies heat up, some weird things going on. We're flinging our hands, and I'm grabbing all kinds of trinkets up here. Oh yeah, you will. It's not. Oh yeah, you'll all feel. Oh, I'm watching. Yeah, there's lots of it.
Yeah, that'll happen a lot too. I'll do activations or healing on a single person, but in a group setting, and everybody will still get what they need to at the same time, without even setting that intention. It's kind of the way.
Yeah, playing a love song, everybody can benefit.
Get the spill off.
Yeah. And what I'm doing over here is I see her energy body, I'm seeing it already healed, her aura, her physical body will match that, is what's going on. So when we're flinging energies over here, I can actually see her again, another version, a hazy version of her body that's already healed. And then again, as you're, you generate physically, you'll match that sort of thing. When you're in the right energies, frequencies, environment, thoughts, and feelings, you heal yourself. Your knees as well.
So an example is as well, so using that same technique that we just talked about, putting the hand over, I'll show how that can work as well. So you don't have to do all this full-on woo stuff. You can just feel the energies of the body, the electromagnetics of the body, and work with your own electromagnetics to shift those energies. Let me clear this.
That's a good description, because I'm sitting here watching Julissa's energy too. You're working up in this area from her neck to her lower back, feeling that too. So it's a lot of energy work is in, and all of you and your imagination and feelings too are having an effect. Again, it's a whole chorus of love songs. Everybody has good intentions.
So what I would do, so just like when we were feeling the energy on our body and relaxing just with our hand, I'm just going to use that technique and just feel the layers and work through some of those layers. So right now I can feel it right here on her shoulder. I can feel this bubble that comes out. So I'm just feeling it with my hand, relaxing my hand as deeply as possible without doing my finger stuff, which it wants to. I'm just going to let it just follow those energies. I don't know why my left arm always wants to do stuff, so I let it.
Yeah, Wi-Fi.
So that would be one of the layers that just released. So, and then we go back and you feel it again, and it might not be out here now. It might be a little bit closer, but it's still out here.
You're pulling layers as I'm watching it happen. So kind of like, think muscle fibers. If maybe you had a muscle cramp or something. I know it's hard to see what I'm pointing at here in this air. You're pulling them out and then releasing what I would say is tension or heavy energies, letting them release.
That's because the body's designed to heal itself, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. You are. That's exactly what happens. And even during this one too, I know we're simply quiet, so everybody listening online as well and in the room, you can feel the frequencies and the energies. So use your imagination, heal yourself. Because again, we're playing love songs, so dance inside, get all excited, get happy, and see yourself already healed, not healing. And that's exactly what will happen. And by the way, there's a bunch of you in here where your pineal glands are all just sparking and flashing. So your third eye, you can think of it as.
Kina hananyana ore ue kui lindisi titi loko loko ye pai ne seke ahlak chuk ki pak ayaleki shinand ai uiku alak yar ta ya imia ne ya kui ya le itia u ina sahi u a le ititia ta ata tanan we tushit ya o le ma ni ke ko waha yaki ini waha le itika ko akwa rata ko peko acha acha ina ka eko ya week so ar ema ma huya kuila hara ya ka yo lo ema ya sha yes ya
You just, that's interesting. I don't know who brought him in. It must be you. There's a group over there, Egyptian garb, and when they're like bringing you towards them, you walk over there, just following your own intuition, just so you know, and you stand among them. And I'm like, because I've been watching them. They started up high, coming down. I'm like, what the heck's going on? Reading the energies, seeing them sing love as well. So I'm okay, good intentions, and seeing their friends are you're up. And then all of a sudden, every time they get closer, you join them and you stand among them over there. It's odd to me too. They didn't give me a
I don't
playbook.
see it, so that's the thing. I don't see these things.
You are responding immediately on the money. To all of them, just
Yeah, and
which
I'm not
means you're
doing-
following your gut instinct.
Yeah, I'm not. It's
You
me.
don't know what
My
I'm
body
seeing.
is literally being moved.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm not. This is all autonomous. I'm not choosing to do it. It's literally the walking. The back
I'm trying
and
not to
forth,
laugh because they keep
wind
tugging you
movement.
back there. And I'm like, let him do his thing. And
There's a reason for
he
it.
says we're better all together.
Yeah, that's best.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And then we'll finish up here in a second. We'll put some armor on her. Because these codes are going to continue to run, so things are going to continue to shift. That's what's really important to remember too. Yeah. So I'm not sure if you guys that are familiar with energy work, but a lot of times we heal or we release in different ways.
Oh, just pressures and energy.
Yeah, so
of
I
course.
release a lot with like burping and then a lot of yawning. Sometimes it's very much like throwing up, but it's just energy. So like really bad big purges.
It could have been worse ways.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna take a golden sphere. I'm gonna place a code in it. I'm gonna place it in her heart. I'm gonna ask this code to go to wherever she needs healing most. And again, these things are going to continue to run. So she's got these healing frequencies. I'm going to take another one, a little thumb drive. I'm going to plug that into her shoulder. I'm going to take another one, plug that into the hip, and ask those to run for the next 2 hours. And then I'm just going to put her own, like a container for her to continue to heal and to hold space for her and help her integrate. So I just put another structure around her, and you can do it in all sorts of ways, but this is just one of the ways that I do it. So what I do is I'll put her in a diamond octahedron with the top apex about 2 meters above her head, bottom apex about 2 meters below her feet. I'm gonna rotate it gently clockwise. I'm gonna ask for whatever frequencies, whatever light codes are right for her for these intentions to flow in. And again, these are gonna vortex around her in a clockwise direction. And she's gonna breathe these in to the head, the face, the neck, the throat, through every cell, every fiber, down through the whole torso, down through the legs, down into the feet, the shoulders, down and into the hands. And I just got guided. So it's the way that I get guided is just all of a sudden I just have a thought that I'm, for what is a random thought, but that's generally how I'm guided to do things. And so I'm going to connect her to Gemini, which helps heal the shoulders, the arms. So it helps rule, you want to say rule, but it brings healing into those areas. So I'm just going to ask that to flow into there to assist, and if it's in alignment for her highest good only. And so now I'm going to put a platinum frequency cube around that octahedron, rotate that gently clockwise. I'm going to ask for the frequency of chromium to go between that cube and that octahedron. I'm going to put an inverted platinum pyramid around that, rotate that gently clockwise, and ask to fill it with silver between the pyramid and the cube. And then I'm going to spark up her own low frequency in her heart, and put a buckyball shape around it with silver platinum mirrors on the inside and outside of the faces. Then I'm going to expand her own frequency, her own love frequency, to go around all these other geometries that we just created. I'm going to paint some light language and light codes around the outside. What do you think, Derek?
When you were doing that, I don't know the terms. That really thin paper that you can sketch through, then you lay it over something else and see
Tracing
through.
paper?
Yeah, tracing paper. Yeah, I haven't used it in decades. Been out of school a little while. That's what you were doing. So I can see here what you would call different bodies or energy forms. One way to merge it. That's interesting. So it's seeing them all at once now.
Oh, cool.
Because now I can kind of see through. It's another way of integrating other aspects of your higher self, sort of thing. You were removing that like a mirror in your bathroom after a hot shower. It's like wiping off that haziness and then seeing more of it. So, and that's what was going on there. Again, I just term it excess and overage kind of thing. Love the timing you do. I do similar things in there. I like the thumb drive idea. And by the way, that's him working in his imagination. And you can call it whatever you want, but saying, well, I want that to go longer. So I'll put, say a time limit on that. Whatever's good for you, kind of thing, as well. So. And there's a lot going on in this room. And again, everybody here is going to be feeling it too. Different whooshes and not so subtle energies probably, sort of thing. Yeah, and then some of these can get, so other groups coming in here, checking stuff out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm noticing, so let's just say, so let's compare frequency to light. He's kind of a bright light, so he's feeling a lot of things, so that draws in a lot of attention too, especially with this much attention from all of you in energy form, focusing on this. So this room's probably tripled etherically since we started.
And it's always a group effort too. It's always we're always in a group container when we're working together, and we have these intentions. We're focused on the same things. We're creating a new frequency anyway. We're all creating this frequency together, and it's not just us. We've got teams with us, right? And we've got our higher selves and all of our guides. So they're all involved in their own way. And again, like when we listen to heal, all we got to do is put our awareness there and our focus and our intentions and hold space, and that will boost the healing as well. It can be that simple. So more of us that are watching each other heal, or just observing each other, or interested in it, it's going to exponentially increase the power. Usually, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, it does. Some of you see me down here, holding some crazy tools and different rocks and trinkets. They're all just, silver bars, some gaspiite, copper shungite, and a Vogel crystal. As it just rang my ear holding it up.
It's very powerful.
Oh yeah, this thing's like stupid strong. I mean that in a good way. And all these fractures, and I know you can't see it online probably, but all the stuff in there, that's the good stuff in this, because if you got up close, you'd see all the rainbows. That's the frequency. So using a tool like this with the right intention, and then where you hold it matters too. So think heart chakra, love. So same thing with things like pendulums. It matters where you hold it in your intention too. So these are just frequency devices is what I'm holding. That's why you tasted copper earlier too. I'm trying to keep some of it down below, but moving energy, but you'll start tasting it because you're an extrasensory empath. You got big emotions and you pick up on stuff.
So when you programmed all the spheres and all the different shapes to put in there, the only thing I can think of was Lemurian crystals. Are they programmed with light language?
They can be, definitely. I have a Lemurian crystal. The great thing about Lemurian crystals is they're really great for holding information, like for data. So you can definitely put light language into it. I have a Lemurian crystal at home that's just packed full of codes. Like I use it in a lot of my work and just hold it with me. And so it's just like vibrating. What's really interesting too is, I'm sure as some of you probably know, is that when I first got the Lemurian crystal, it was really hazy, like it was really dark and like had all sorts of redness and whatnot. But once I started putting codes into it, it's almost completely clear now, which I think is just really interesting to see that that actual physical shift in it.
I'll go grab something. Did we want to have it out here still?
Yeah. How are you feeling? Did you feel?
Yeah, my energy is just totally buzzing. My whole body was hot, and then just the energy is amazing.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, and we're done with you. If you want, you're welcome to sit down. But then also just keep in mind that you're going to continue to be shifting these things. So over the next few days, just keep that in mind. And of course, there's more work than just the healing that we do, because it's very multidimensional. There's a lot to it. So you're going to receive all sorts of stuff. You could receive activations. So don't be surprised if things start getting stronger, or things start coming online. But yeah, that's beautiful. I would love to hear feedback over time and see how you're doing. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions about any of what went on? So I will explain too. So like I would say at certain times, right? So I would say, okay, I've got a cylinder, right? I've got a blue cylinder, and I place a code in it. What I would do when I do that is essentially it's creating a container, and it's creating a program, like a shortcut program that is to an already processed healing, an automated process of healing that goes through certain things, so we don't have to go through that process all at one time. So when I use I will program a certain geometry that contains this information, that it is a holder for this information, and then entangle it to a code. It can be entangled to a geometry, or it can. I like to use different number and letter combinations. Just it's easier to remember than, since I'm not visual. Shapes are. That's not my thing, but so it'll be like it'll be C1639 or something, and you put it in a certain shape, and with that certain shape that's made of a certain frequency, and you put it in a certain place. These are all just pre-programmed through your imagination and through your intention, and kind of held in place in certain ways. You put it in automatically. Once it goes automatically. You tell it what you want it to do, and it runs automatically. So there's a lot that can be done all at once by using these shortcut tools, which is just using the imagination. It's just another way of healing. Energy healing is, it's just play in a lot of ways.
And think zip file too. So you can do a lot of these things just by saying one word. So for me, I say armor, and whatever that recipe of the word armor entails a whole lot for me. And some of you may have felt this too. So this is, we're talking Lemurian crystals. Oh yeah, that's a massive Lemurian crystal cluster there with all kinds of frequencies and energies. Brought it up for a reason. A lot of you will feel it.
Literally popped my neck.
Oh yeah. That's going to help a lot of you, let's say, again, what we use the term integrate or hold on to, or, maybe keep the songs that you heard today downloaded on your playlist of frequencies. And there's the beauty of all the different angles and a lot going on in there. I'll leave it out for you to look at after the class as well if you want. Just I appreciate not touching it though, because it can break. But yeah, that's a huge frequency device. Of course, any crystals are, be it smoky quartz ones, and as you mentioned, crystals changing color. We have that in our office. Lots of examples where we'll just literally in seconds pull the color out of smoky quartz. I'm not talking over weeks and months and things. In seconds, all of a sudden it'll turn clear, or I don't know, other examples of.
Yeah, this one was more clear. It is now a little bit more smoky, but it has more rainbows in it too.
Yeah.
So it's having that.
These are living entities. That's not a joke. That's not a play on words. They literally are, and they'll respond to whom they're around, kind of thing. And that's why they're such good energy tools. When they're used with love, they'll hold that frequency, and then be able to, in this case, share it on many levels. And we look at it just right. There's all kinds of stuff going on in there. Rainbows.
Do you have to clear it occasionally?
You do, and we smudge or sage, clear it different ways in here with palo santos, white sages, different ways of doing that, but we do. So
in the case of the Lemurians, do you clear it and then reprogram it, like you said you had a bunch of them, or it doesn't matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter per se, but I would always suggest, especially with crystals, is because they're a matrix. They're just they hold a certain geometric matrix that can hold on to certain frequencies better. So certain stones will hold on to certain frequencies. That's why they'll have different properties.
Yeah.
So some are going to be better at holding certain frequencies than others, but you can always just put whatever you want into the stones, and it can be as simple as love. Like that is programming. It's just by putting. Okay, I want love into this crystal. It can be as simple as that.
Yeah, because there's certain crystals you don't. That's why I was asking if you.
The Lemurian will already have access to those frequencies, so it's more kind of like think wiping off your shoes. So taking off anything you added, it's not like it drained it. So all of a sudden I flung too much energy, it's got to recharge it. No, and you weren't asking that. I'm making fun of it. But no, they're always there. So it's more of just, again, that bathroom mirror analogy after a hot bath or shower. It's more just wiping off the stuff that built up. The steam in that case, but in this excess. So, but no, the frequency is always there. I don't have to reconnect to a Lemuria or anything like that. It has all the frequencies that were available in the understandings of those entities at the time. So there's a whole lot said in there. Okay, and some of the stuff I just have to get out, just because of the way I am. So and that thing's changing color for me right now, so I can see it too on the other spectrums. It's flashing because and that'll happen to crystals too. And be open to experiencing it, even seeing it. If you're not called some crazy seer like me, you can still see stuff. When you get into certain thought processes or understandings or aha moments in your head, the stuff around you will change color and frequency. That's how it happens.
That's awesome.
I just have a comment. Like, I could really feel all the energy, like all the work you were doing. I could feel it inside, and I've never really experienced this, so I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. But my body was kind of my neck was going up and over like that, and then I had chills, and then I just felt I just felt so much sensation, but my head kind of feels it hurts a little bit. Not it's not a headache, but do you see what?
Absolutely.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'm like, why am I feeling like this? My head and
the energies are shifting.
It's amazing that I'm able to feel that though. I mean, it's pretty amazing for me.
Beautiful,
Yeah,
that's
my hands, my arms, and I felt like when you were doing the light language, it was like I was dancing. My body was just like this. It was just
Welcome
so
home.
surreal. I was like, whoa!
Awesome,
it was just amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing with all this woo-woo stuff, as we jokingly refer to it as. For me, it's about experience, because even the idea of spirituality is it's a you thing. It's always a you thing, and people can't teach you what you are or what your experience is, right? So with energy work especially, I wasn't necessarily skeptical. I had been into metaphysical stuff for quite a while, So I was aware of things like energy healing, but I hadn't experienced it, so I didn't even recognize it as an option. I knew it was there, but I just, for some reason, it just wasn't computing until I experienced it Spirit really pushed it on me a few times, and I finally felt it and had that experience. And once I actually had the experience of feeling the energy, like everything shifted. I was like, oh my gosh, it's weird once you have those experiences. But it takes a long time for the ego mind to adjust too. I mean, I was doing energy work every day for like 2 years and working with people, and I still was like, okay, I don't know if this is working, or like I don't know. I have the most profound experience ever, and the next day my ego's like, nope, that wasn't there. You're good. Like it's like, come on, man. But eventually, it becomes a knowing. You know, you have so many experiences that it's just something that you know. And once you get into that knowing state, past that believing state, that's where the real power comes from. That's where the real magic can happen. It's just by knowing it's going to work, knowing this is happening.
And then remember, because then using you as an example, you felt that. We didn't hit any secret buttons. There's not a fan above you, nothing like that. Somebody behind you's not poking you. Part of the game.
Amazing.
It's a thing. Yeah. So now we all just need to remember that, even if it's that type of energy thing or the psychic thing. You knew what song was coming on. Well, that's impossible. First off, it's not.
No.
So then hang on to that thing and realize it, and you don't have to prove it to yourself every other month or every 6 months. Just remember that, and then you can more easily have it affect you, because then you know, well, heck yeah, I'll walk up to a crazy crystal, and it's going to have an effect. And I don't know if you noticed what was pointing at you too, right there. There's a reason for that. You also had something removed on the back of your neck as well. You would have felt that. So you had some restriction energies, I'll just say, removed there. You had a friend come in. There's a whole lot behind the scenes. Yeah, call them spirit guides, guardian angels, whatever. But yeah, we all have friends, we'll say. And he was talking about that earlier too. It's not just us doing it. Yeah, as in human forms.
And I noticed too, like you were burping, and I felt like it was like, obviously you were healing her, but I felt a little bit of it because I have stomach stuff.
Okay.
So I felt like some of that was for me too, like my healing. So I felt like that. That's
what's really interesting, and what I'm continuously reminded by my higher self is that these tools are way more powerful than we yet realize. There's way more to it because it goes outside of our conscious understanding in what we might refer to, as our 3D, 4D, whatever. So, however you want to refer to who you are now, it's a certain level of understanding, and we just can't perceive certain things until we are at certain levels. But those things are happening; they're always there, right? And they're always taking place. So it can be. There's a lot to it. There are lots. There's always something new that I'm learning about it, especially working with groups and with people, working on a certain person. I've seen, like now it's becoming a theme where, work on a certain person, but everybody's getting their own healing, which is I find really interesting. Just from the spillover or from the quantum work or, however that works, but I always find that really interesting. And it's not just, not just the energy. It's not just like you're just raking, everybody's getting the spillover. People are actually getting work done on them, which is really interesting. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if anybody ever wants to share stuff, that's it's very, very helpful. Whatever your experience is, especially for people who are new, because I know that when I started getting into energy work, that helped me a lot, especially when people would share what their experiences was, because I would be, having whatever tuned into whatever that have a thought or I felt a certain thing, but until somebody else said, oh, I felt it here or whatever, it's like, oh, well, yeah, okay, now I did. And then that happens enough times, you just start to know,
And you may feel things a little bit less, so it's not always the same shock and awe. So you can kind of think evening out, maybe you don't have so much excess to take off. So on your tummy as well, so this is a mineral, it's a type of copper called gaspiite. Has a heat sway. I also touched that with. So then I put that frequency of gaspiite into when I was projecting the energy. So that had an effect on that area kind of thing. So on your first time, you may really feel things if you get in front of energy workers like us and we hang up our hands or whatever we do kind of thing. And maybe next time it's a little different. It doesn't mean it's not working also. So just realize that too. And or sometimes it may be 10 times as strong. So just realize, again, remember that it's a thing and it happened like we were talking about with you. You felt it. And then just be open to the experience and the end result. And don't worry too much about, all the intricacies, whether, wait, did Ty fling his hand this way when he did it? Or did Crazy Derek do this or that way? Or don't worry about all that. Yeah, so, just be open to, the various ways it happens.
Yeah, I came into it from a very logical perspective. So I got activated and these things started to happen. And from a logical perspective, I needed to understand it before, like I was going to share it or do anything. Like it's weird enough to even be doing it in private, but to finally get out and start to share when you notice it can actually be beneficial, and then to get the bravery to come out and do it it can be a hurdle. But yeah.
Do you ever get the urge to do it in public and you have to say,
Oh, I always have an urge to do it, and I do sometimes, but I do less lately. So I'll be going through Walmart. I don't care.
Oh yeah, Walmart.
I don't Costco. Yeah, before you go into Walmart, I always do. Just more like to the Walmart. Yeah, pretty much. I put a big device over it. Yeah.
We just kept going back to Kroger and we were like, okay, let's clear the shelf.
Yeah, clearing all the time, and even when we were driving when she was driving me to the airport, like the whole time we're just like clear, like the whole time, the 2-hour drive, just like both of us. Poor thing.
Spoken light language is easier in public because you can talk on your phone. They think you're speaking Armenian.
Oh yeah. People always ask, what language are you speaking?
Get off the bus and go,
if you're really confident in what you do, no, people don't care. And that was great about the airport. Like people just don't want to look at you no matter what. So I'm doing it no problem, and I'm like, nobody was even looking at me. I'm all right, speaking it aloud. They're like,
it's not even odd anymore.
Yeah, it's not weird at all. You want to do another exercise?
Sure.
Or is there something
No,
else
let's go with it.
Yeah, do some more healing work or activation work. So it's kind of a mix. It's a little exercise I like to do that mixes the light language and the coding and the group activation and healing work, and the feeling that we just did, and your own intentions, and using your imagination at the same time. And this is just something that came up with, and you can come up with all sorts of stuff if you're using your imagination and intending it to have certain purposes, and you kind of align it with certain functionalities. It'll work like that. So what I want you to do is I want you to come up with an intention. It can be healing. It can be a specific area of healing. If you got something going on in a certain part of your body, identify what you want. It can be an activation. It can be an upgrade. Whatever you want. And I want you to assign it a color. Whatever it is, a color doesn't matter. You can assign it whatever color, but I want you to assign that intention for that shift, and whatever that is, to a specific color. And then I want you to imagine that, or know that, it's in a ball of that color, and you're going to hold it in your hands in front of you. Doesn't matter if you see it or not, you're just intending. And I want you to feel your hands. I want you to feel your fingers, feel your hands, your palms, your fingertips, and that's what you're going to pay attention to. All you're going to pay attention to is the feeling in your fingertips and your hands. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be boosting it. So your intention is inside that ball. And I'm going to do my light language and light coding. And I'm going to be boosting what you're already doing. You're going to be feeling into it. You're going to be putting your own energy into it and your own intentions into it. And then we're just going to boost it with the light languages. And you might notice it shifts and goes away. Just assign another ball if you want. You can just pull out another color, put it in another spot, because sometimes they shift really quickly. So go ahead and assign a color to a ball and an intention, and then I will boost it here. Supa tata un mahaya kaya kana hatalish tatatatatatom harya tatatushitush la rambata huya lo luk o akia kana huya shinde de besiotush lirana tatatuisa kakoya kai lekt ambo hadale trusare shetitis tusha yaket uiki kiket moko kakakakakakue ni uae buki ua luma haratista ne pe wa kulo pa ya kenet ku takiku je pisot papa de pe ko lo ba ya wa جعرنا هاتويجي ما هسا يكون هاتاديش أرشمك يكون هرتا بسياتا شاسي سبتاتا يفوق أكو يا كداي هساندي هننا إكو مرا ساترا شتكو إمبرشاتا تياتا تاسو مهدي سيتي شو تقواتو ساتا شيش كان يكيك أك أيه هرتسي توشار هاتا وشو بتوز tipo guarda clac ish hiata sup mata ish ki samahasha tata ish tipo harama ya is shene sai show quasa shene ya sai ke la uina ai tu maya tu kui hina ta inti Huko mahala ha e ti tu su ti pa na ya na tu Miko ta 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 ta. What ta 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 ta. Good. Scat what can scat good scat. Isso por papa a sua papi. Hasala la ta ta ra ta to macchia. Tutto rombora ta ya shatartia tu qua. Minda ya indis. Che cacca la tasta ma ishasa. Che pu annate esara. La rata ta questo rata che per quel che la tu fu pa tu pa le ciao ai in realtà su hasciata ishiti sana tatati satur c'è una ranana ora ya ranana. You start coming back when you feel ready.
A lot of the people on their mid chakras were sending energy on them, and they were starting to heat up, and you would have felt it down there too. So I was watching, I was looking as that was happening. So a lot of people were releasing from the waist to the heart chakra in that area. Yeah, and I have no idea. I was observing. That's what a lot of them were doing.
Beautiful. Anybody have an experience? Any luck?
Yeah. Mine got bigger and heavier.
Interesting.
It was just starting to, my hands are just tingling, and I'm like, it's getting heavier. It's getting heavier.
It's beautiful. Yeah, you're putting your own energy into it too.
I actually had to toss my first one. It was getting too hot. Somebody over here threw one too. So I don't know if it was you, Lola, or somebody dropped the energy ball and kind of got rid.
I think I did because I don't want to interfere with what you guys are doing.
Oh,
my
is that?
hands are moving and I'm really trying.
No, you're
good.
Myself.
You don't interfere.
Let it go.
I'm trying to be a good audience.
No, let it out.
You would, because then you threw the energy ball or tossed it kind of thing. Like, and now we're talking about it, so it's all good.
This is not my show.
No, it is,
Yes,
absolutely.
it is.
Everybody's
Yeah,
no, it's everybody, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, mine got really, really hot, and because I don't usually hold on to energy that long. I'm like, oh, Moran, whoop, get another one.
Just move it. And I'm like,
Right.
there
you go. Yeah, and you can get creative. A really simple technique to do something as well is I like to work on things like if you're working remotely. What I'll do is with my intention is pull up what would be referred to as like a hologram or a proxy of myself or whoever I'm working on. So this is how I work on myself, is that I will imagine or intend that there's an outline, like a outline of a body in front of me, right? Or in the space in front of me. And then I quantum entangle it with my intention. Say this is my hologram, this is my proxy, this is a proxy of Tai, this is a proxy of Tai. And then whatever I do to that hologram will be done to me. It's quantum entangled. And then you can do all sorts of creative things with that too. Those that can see, you can ask to be shown something that you don't already know that will help in the healing, and you may see stuff pop up. And then you just play the game of, it's like literally playing a game of how to figure that thing out, because spirit speaks in symbols, right? As we know, it's very like cryptic because it's multidimensional. Symbols are multidimensional and can be interpreted from different perspectives, from different people in different ways. That's what makes them so powerful. But then, so you could do something as simple as like putting a black outline around it. So you can say, okay, I'm going to draw a black outline around this body that goes around like a chalk outline. And as that black line, I want to intend it to pull out negative energy from the body. So that's what that line is doing. And I'm going to put a white outline that's twice as thick outside of that one. So it's got a black line around it and it's got a white line around it. And I want that to put in 10 times as much white light into whatever is taken out. And you can add more layers, and then you can just let it run, and you'll notice, and you start to feel in your body, things start to shift. But what you do to that hologram is going to be done to you, or to the person you're working on. And always make sure to get rid of it too when you're done. So delete this. But that's another way to get really creative. I draw it out too, so you can entangle it to a drawing. You can make an outline of yourself and say, this is me, this is what I'm working on, and then you can use your imagination, because like I'm not very visual, but I like to draw and be creative, and then do things to that, and you'll notice it, you feel it in your body, or you can even channel too. I'll take a pencil or a pen and intend that that's the energy, and then have my little outline, and then let my automatic writing go around it, and it'll work through different areas of the body and then circle around, and there's all sorts of different things you can do with it.
And you can carry that with you too. So if you're focused on a certain intention or healing or integration or upgrade on yourself and doing that way of cooking you're talking about, then you can fold up that piece of paper if you did such, keep it with you, and that's a frequency.
Yep.
Too. So that's something you can keep and use, and or get a crystal, put it around it, one of these hearts, doesn't matter, but it'll hold that intention or frequency. So when you have it around you, you're back in that environment.
Like spell books or like a program, or you know, like having different.
The drawing when you're done, because you said when you did the outline, you disassemble it. What about the drawing?
You can intend, so sometimes I will just scratch out and say this is not entangled anymore. Sometimes you can rip it up. It's your intention of just removing and clearing it, yeah.
I do that in remote sessions too, just write out names.
I think they do puppet too, like that, but you can program the
Yes.
puppet for healing
Yes.
as well. And in what is the Reiki 2 or distant healing, they suggest that you make an image of the person you are directing that healing to,
Yes.
and then lay your hands on the teddy bear.
Yes.
Or
that's exactly what I do. That's what I do more than imagining it or knowing it, as I have like a doll, I don't know, like a little statue that has like the meridians on it and stuff, and then I entangle that, and then I can go around. So like when I want to find out information about somebody with it, I'm not getting it down, because when I try to get information, it doesn't really work with me. It creates resistance. So if I just ask to be guided to information and it drops in, that's a better way for me. So I'll ask to be shown where do we need to work on this person, and then they'll move my hand and go whoop, right over the shoulder. Okay, so there's something there, or where is this, injury, or what needs to be removed? Guide me to that spot, and you go over there and you remove it from that spot. So it can be a really powerful tool. It's like the idea of voodoo dolls, right? It's the same idea. It's entangling and anchoring it into the physical with something, that makes it there.
Was there any other topics?
Well, I noticed that you took off your sling. How are you feeling right now?
I'm resting my
Here.
arm.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Time will tell. If I can lift my arm to show you, it'd be a miracle.
And healing, some take longer than others. Some can be immediate. Some can take longer.
Oh, I don't expect it.
All right, I love your shirt too, though, because that's going to do nothing but help. What our shirt says, for those online that can't see, love always wins. And I know it sounds corny, but love is the strongest energy in the universe. You all know that, so that's a good one to work with.
Do you guys have any questions? We can do another exercise before we're done. It's totally up to.
Was there anything you thought about, Julissa?
Well, no, I just love following your TikToks and seeing your videos. But every time you have the music going, I'm like, I just want to dance with you. And
do it.
And I
That's
see
what it's
myself
about.
a lot of times I do when I dance by myself. Like I'm moving my arms and doing this. So I'm like, not the fingers so much, but yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do mentoring, and how much do you visit?
I offer sessions that I just call mentoring. It's essentially just whatever you want, and so we can talk about whatever. We can do specific techniques, you can practice, we can do energy work, activation work at the same time. It's really organic, but not as far as like a mentorship. Not yet. That's not really my books yet. I still got a lot to learn. But yeah, and it's you can hit me up later if you want to. But yeah, what was I gonna say? I lost it.
Did you have one more type of activation or
Yeah,
example
we
you
can
wanted
do.
to
Yeah, I say we do an activation right at the end. If you want to join me, Tina.
Sure.
Okay, but
My show though, I don't want to.
yeah, stop. So
It's everybody's show.
Yeah, Tina is very much like me. She's like a female version of me. She's kind of like, she does a lot of the same stuff. She's got her own gifts, so we make a really good team when we're working together. So it would be, I think, good for everybody to have that experience as well.
It'd be awesome to have you come up here and do it as well if you're open to it.
Yeah, you want us to do it now, and then we'll be done?
I would,
Yeah, let's do it. You want to come up? Yeah, sweet. We'll stand on both sides, and then it'll be the same thing. So this, you just gotta relax, and then, you can set intentions if you want, but we're just gonna blast you with a nice little blast of energy before we let you go? And
A lot of higher heart work coming in.
higher heart?
My higher heart feels like it's going to explode, so there's a lot of love coming in for everyone.
Beautiful. Okay, so go ahead and relax, and I'm just going to let loose. Chunga. That's fun, yeah? Thank you, Tina. You can find Tina too on TikTok as well as Cosmic Earthchild. If you go to my TikTok, which I guess I can touch on that too. The TikToks is where I post most of my content and stuff. I share most of it just because it's a really easy way of exchanging, these type of this knowledge and information and showing and having people experience it. So there's lots of free activations, clearings, healings, all sorts of stuff if you're interested on TikTok. So, and if anybody didn't get any flyers or cards, just come up and grab me or come up to me and I'll give you one of those. But yeah, so what, did anybody have any experiences they want to share? Oh, it didn't work? Okay, shoot.
Well, at first I felt cold, waves of cold coming up and down. Then there was this spiral going like this in front. And then I'm Virgo, I analyze everything. So I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, okay, what's happening? And then I let it go. And then things started spinning this way and I was going backwards. Every time you had something like that, I was getting this jolt like you were breathing in front of me, but you weren't. I even opened my eyes as they said. No.
You get COVID. You get COVID. You get COVID.
Yeah, that was mine.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much for sharing that.
I have a lot of breakups, like bubbles, air bubbles, instantly, and it's still happening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
really.
But it's like, yeah, it was very tingly and just.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, and keep in mind too, is again, there's going to be an integration period for this stuff. Whatever you received, it's going to be. I mean, we just moved through a lot of energy today. We haven't done too much, but we've done a lot. So just keep that in mind, and things are going to continue to shift. The way that these codes work will work over time as well. So they will continue to integrate. It's almost like unpacking a zip folder. And they're going to do that as the timing is right for you. Because if we did it all at once, we'd melt into a puddle, and just that's not good for anybody.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's our pleasure for sure.
That's right. It suggests also for the next couple of days, a lot of earthing, grounding.
Lots of water.
Lots of water, salt baths, things like that. The whole integration aspect of it, because there's a lot happening in here today, a lot of it unseen. So you'll feel it too. I've started having to not warn, but let clients know that you may feel stuff for a couple of days afterwards.
Yeah.
Like so energy detox.
Yeah, when I go through, I just went through a really big shift in energy, which is like a processing part of the processing process. Yeah, it works. It did work. That's right. But it's part of the processing process. Is to with me, the way that I experience it. Some people call it like ascension symptoms, stuff like that. But when we move through a big shift in energy, there's a lot of things that happen in our body physically to match us to the energetics that we've been upgraded to. So that can be purging. You can be purging a lot. Like it can be emotional purging. It can be physical purging. You might feel like you get sick at some. You might feel like you're getting sick or something like that. These are the toxins that are leaving your body. So anything you can do to support that, like Derek is mentioning, like grounding, drinking lots of water, things like that, are going to help a lot. Making sure that you've got the right type of like cell support, supporting your cells in whatever ways, so you get the right, the salts and things like that. Yeah, does anybody have any questions?
No, that was awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Beautiful. Awesome class. Lots of fun. And for those of you that didn't receive, because there are different people, different times, we do have some quartz hearts up here that do have the energies or frequencies from today, and they're free if you'd like to take one as well. And then again, some Ty's info.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate y'all so much for coming.
Thank you, guys.
Are you on Facebook or Instagram too?
Yeah, Facebook.
Okay,
I am. But definitely post the most on.
How much do you charge for a
I gave the
session?
wrong thing.
Oh, is this a
Oh, wait, no,
complimentary
here you go.
session coupon?
Yeah, go for it.
Ooh,
Nice. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll do a 30-minute session. But yeah, you can ask whatever else you want.
Well, because I know that I have some.
What's that?
Oh
yeah.
What's the right word? Stuff like in my root chakra, and so I definitely
I'll
want
leave the crystal up here a little bit for somebody to check.
do some work on that. With
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
This is my root chakra area because I've done the Reiki. Actually, she did
Oh,
my
absolutely.
Reiki session
Hi, how are
like
you?
a while ago, and
Of course, absolutely. Go for it.
Did you get one of the crystal hearts?
I did not.
I can't think of the word.
Feel
sending
free.
basically like
remote
stuff.
healing to my brother in
Oh,
Virginia.
nice.
He was in a motorcycle accident.
Oh, okay.
Thursday night, and it's pretty serious, but
And
his
then
brain's okay, his spine's okay, but he's got a lot of broken bones, and his facial needs facial. So I couldn't even think about myself. It's more of
How are
like,
you?
Yeah.
Good, how are you?
Yeah, and then, well, have them take another one for your brother as well.
Thank you.
It's just, I know you have to sit and just think about it too. And you can, so that'll have his attention attached to it.
I've been,
So,
felt like I've
no, that's a
been
good
called
idea.
to my
And what's his first name?
coding, and I didn't
I'll
realize
do
for
something
years
later tonight.
ago,
Okay.
when I do some of my grounding
yeah, it was Thursday night, so it's
and
pretty
didn't
new.
ground
And
myself,
they have to,
that I
they
was
only can
actually
operate on him when
doing
he's.
Yeah, just the hand moving. Yeah.
but I didn't realize until
I mean, he's making a left and a light to beat the light, and another car came and beat the light.
so, it's getting
I
closer
ride
to
bikes
time,
myself, so I
so it's
understand.
part of the activation I have.
He doesn't do it all the time. He has a little club that he,
Activate that part of
buddies
me.
he sees.
Gotcha. Sure.
Remember that.
Well, thank you for
Yeah.
helping John. Yeah, I got 5 brothers and 2
Realize
sisters.
he was doing it until
Oh,
he
4
Yeah.
brothers.
Okay.
So now it's
7, 4
speaking
brothers.
of it, and that,
You know
I can
Paul
feel
from
that's,
Mount
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's John.
Okay.
you know.
Yeah, I'll do a remote session.
I'm Julissa. Sorry, my hands are cold.
I enjoyed the light. I've heard the light language before. Somebody online, Shelley, the band.
So she
band.
does,
But yeah, it's really cool.
Oh yeah, Tyel's phenomenal.
You guys do
lots of
that? You
videos.
do the light?
Not with my hands, but we do the same frequencies just by holding up my hands. So
Oh, yeah.
not as showy. Love the show part, yeah, but not. So
Sounds like something from Star Trek, you know, when
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's all
When I do
interesting.
sessions, sometimes like, because I usually cover the customer's eyes, so because I have shy hands, so I will.
Oh.
I know I kind of them.
Oh,
I do.
gotcha. Everything see so much, yeah.
Yeah. Like they can't see my hands. So I can
It's all the same. Energy chef, did you say?
Yeah, yeah. There's just different ways of doing it. So we
My
all
2 favorite things are music and food, so I really like your analogy. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have to work with cook. I don't know how to cook, but I love food. I got the cooking analogy.
Yeah, that's the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
It was good. I'm glad people showed up. With the nice weather.
I wasn't sure you.
Yeah.
The sun out coming through. I think we'll enjoy that. At least there's still time. It's early.
So anyway, but I felt all of
Yeah,
this.
still
Thank you for
enjoy
coming.
All right, thank you. Thanks for helping John
Think about
out.
your brother.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll put a couple of these, put this big guy away. Oh yeah, that's it. Isn't that thing crazy? Yeah. Get some of these. Yeah, I'll get the both as well. Some trinkets out here.
I know they should. You should, yeah.
Oh wow, there's like tons of these. Yeah. Which one do I like? She likes
She was like, I couldn't believe, can you imagine she came?